Hello and welcome to Shay Zasaa and a Zaza Zooms In. And you know, I've been doing this thing for I don't know how long. And one of my closest people to me has only just decided today to grace me with his presence.
What a welcome.
It is my darling, my longtime friend, Wole, finally has made it to the show, and I'm so excited. Wole, thank you so much for coming.
Wow. That's what an intro that is. You know, I'm just making it to the show. I actually had to fight to come onto this show, so I just thought I'd let you know that that's my comeback. Sorry.
You had to fight to come on this show.
I had to say something. Said, come on.
You know,
It's about time.
Anyway, Wole is here, so this is going to be exciting. And I've got Karin and Dele, both of whom you have met previously. And today we are talking about something that I don't even know which way it's going to go, so let me just tell you now. But we're talking about the meaning of life.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to go to Karin immediately. Let me come with Dele. What is the meaning of life to you? What does life mean to you? What do you think the essence of life is?
Life is growth. If you're not growing, then you might as well be dead.
I agree with that.
So
actually.
I
What-
think life is growth, and growth is in every aspect of everything, in your education, in career, in whatever it is you want to do. You have to be growing regularly. Otherwise, what's the point? So that's why I see life, at least from the onset.
Okay, I know that there's four of us and we have 26 minutes, but those short answers are not going to work. But I'm coming back to you.
Come back
Okay,
to me, but
thank
yeah,
you. All right.
okay.
I'm just saying because we got to cover the time. Okay, Wole, what is life to you?
Life. A few things really. I think the first for me is life is learning. Learning is life. I think I'm a student of life and for life. So I'm always learning. And I've come today and I'm going to learn. I'm sure I'm going to learn some things from you guys. A lot. I've heard some things about some families and their size, and I think that it's going to teach me some things. And I think that I will leave here with taking some more of life. So life is learning. It's progressive for me. It's always going to be. You are always learning. At the moment you stop learning, you're going to. I think you're
Well, I
going to
think
die.
learning
You're
and growth are
Growth,
pretty much,
yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
so like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
like
Yes,
that, like
yes.
that. And it's, some people ask me, they say, when are you going to grow up? Grow up now, grow up. I say, no. I'm going to be young forever. And the moment that I stop being young, I think I'm ready to go. That's for me. So for me, life is progressive and it's learning. It's always learning, and it's very fresh. It has to be. Fresh. Be open to learning new things, to taking on new experiences, creating new memories. That's something I've been hearing a lot recently.
You're
Always
creating a
keep
memory here today.
It did
The only
yes.
man on the panel.
Oh yes, as well. Yes.
What were you thinking?
But I was thinking that I had to push to come on this.
Oh, stop that! Stop that!
So it's something that I'm gonna enjoy. I'm gonna enjoy this. Yeah.
Karen, please, I don't even want to speak to Wole anymore. Karen, what is life to you?
Well, through my work, through the sculptural work, I investigate very much strength and vulnerability. And for me, it always comes down to connection. Connecting with other people, connecting with nature. It's forming those connections that I think is really important.
It's interesting because when I thought about this, what is life? You know, there were so many things that through that, you know, because in my mind, I mean, I agree with both of you, learning and growth. I mean, I kind of put them as the same thing, to be fair, but I feel like as long as you're alive, you must be learning something. And it's not going to school learning, it's learning something. Like you learning just how nice it is to sit in between three people on a panel.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
You know, it's learning little things, it's learning big things. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
that every day you must be learning something. And so in that sense, you'll be growing. So I feel like that is life. But I feel like it's so funny because, I mean, Karen uses connection. I would have just said love.
Okay.
Because and I guess it's related somewhat. Connection, love, maybe not. I don't know. don't know. Is it related? It could be, but you know what I mean. So I just think that life is about love, because I feel like, I don't know, I'm a bit biased towards love. I feel like, if you can love, I'm always saying this, if we can get love right, then we're sorted.
Fantastic.
If we can get love right, we're sorted. The problem is, how do we get love right? But I feel like love, the essence of humanity, the essence of life, is all centered around love. That's probably what I would say. Dele, you look like you're...
I'm thinking about what you're saying. I'm listening and thinking.
Okay, I thought you...
It's all about love. Okay.
And I think that comes back to connection. But I was saying to Karin on our way here that, because she was saying like connection to nature, and I was saying it's funny because really we should. I mean, how connected are you to nature now?
Do I go and hug trees? No. However, I do like the outdoors, and I have a student now that she talks a lot about trees, and I'm finding out that really and truly everything that you need to help you grow, physically, even sometimes emotionally, is actually out there in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a tree for
we laugh about this hugging the tree, but there's something to it.
There's a tree for everything. Tree for everything. But I like what Karin said about connection and connecting. What she said, connections and love. I think is about correct loving. So obviously. Right kind of loving.
That's why I said if we get love right, don't come and make it look like I said love anyhow.
No, well, yeah. So you're right. So embellishing that. So it's again the right kind of, so the correct kind of loving. So sometimes it has to be hard.
Tough love.
Yeah, sometimes it has to be hard, and sometimes it has to be sacrificial. Sometimes it has to be colorful. It really has to be colorful.
Because what's colorful love?
Okay, so
you were waiting for me to ask.
Yes. So in my line of work, I have many people go through my car, and I have
tell
to
them what you do, because that sounds
sorry.
That could be interpreted. That may not go down.
I teach people to drive. I
Thank you.
teach to teach. So I'm an instructor.
Yeah, many people going through your car.
You know, man, through my car. So it's I have to find different hats to wear. And so it sometimes becomes quite colorful the way I would say certain things. I'll pass something along to someone else. And it's the same message. It is love.
You just have to be creative.
You have to be very creative. It has to be creative. It has to also be something that they will be willing to accept, to take on. So not everyone's able to take things on, and because of how it's presented. So if you have to put some color into it, put some life into it, and it's more easy to be imbibed, to be taken on, to be accepted. Yeah.
I think I also like how Karin said about connections, because you can't do life alone. So you need all those connections. And like Wole rightly said, how you present it. I guess being a teacher as well, I get that. I'll have some classes where they were like, oh, we just love you. It's like being a Marmite, love or hate. I have some other classes like, oh my gosh, we just can't stand her. So I guess it's how they perceive you, how they receive what you've got to give, or how you actually give what you've got. People take it in different ways. Some people might just love it and just like, oh, that's the best. And some other people just like, oh no, not my cup of tea kind of thing. So yeah, connection is quite important as well to make life what it is. So yeah.
Okay, but you can say something. Go on.
No, I'm wondering about the connection, because every time you meet another person, new person, you tend to change a little bit. I mean, that's me. I mean, I like to try and not necessarily adapt or to totally change, but there's this little change, and I actually see it, and I see it in the way I would speak, the kind of English I would speak, and the kind of words I would use, and how I would present myself. So it's the connections also make you change. There's a change that comes every time I meet someone new.
But does that change now stay, or?
So for me again, I enjoy learning how to. I enjoy teaching, okay, but I also enjoy learning how to teach different people. So is it a stain? It's not a stain, but it's an addition to me. I've grown a little bit more.
Okay.
I call it growing. So it's not a bad
You
thing.
increase your vocabulary, don't you? On your teaching skills.
Have to.
Yeah,
Have to.
because you can't teach, because I used to teach at the art academy and so that,
Okay.
and you can't teach the same thing to everybody in the same way, because they receive
learn
things
differently. Yes, yeah.
And a good teacher, in my opinion, is somebody who can look at a student, adjust your technique so that they can receive something in and get something from your teaching.
Yeah.
But I really think that for me the connection is and the meaning of life is connection, connecting with people on all different levels, hopefully with positive outcomes. And even if your connection starts off with perhaps a negative filter, hopefully you can come out the end of that experience with something positive and with something to take forward in life. I think it's a primal thing for people to want to connect.
Yeah.
I think being lonely and being alone has a lot to answer for the negative things that happen in the world.
And it's funny, our pastor, well, I say our pastor, our pastor used to say, I think he still says, but he always says that, talking about relationships, when he's talking about marriages, remember he used to say this thing, he would say that women need connection, because when men were created by God, it was the man. So I guess his connection was with the animals. That's how you people connected. But women, but women, when women were created, we were created in relationship.
Yes.
So as soon as we arrived, there was somebody there, which is why women are so relational. As in, we need to talk, we need to have that because we don't know any different. Yeah. We've always had someone there, and I think that there's an element. I love that. When he said, I thought this makes sense. This is why women are always, Whereas you're about to go against it, or what?
No, I'm not going.
Don't even try that, because I'll have you.
No,
go.
So not
Go,
going
go.
against it. I mean, she said something about being proverbial. That was it. Provincial. Was it provincial? You said provincial.
I didn't even hear that word here at all today.
No, there was a word that she used, and I was thinking of a connection to yourself as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
The
that
most important connection, as far as I'm concerned.
it is.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how we go through life, and the person you should connect with, you don't even connect with at all. So loving to connect with others is fantastic. But if you're not connected with yourself, then you really cannot give your best self to anybody. Anyone
I would
at all.
agree with you.
Yeah.
This is all about rocking your own gorgeous. Thank you for the plug.
There's something you say a lot about discover who you are.
Yes, because you can't, because I always say this rock your own gorgeous thing, I know I'm plugging, sorry, but this rock your own gorgeous thing is about you. The tagline is know you, love you, be you. I don't feel that you can really love yourself and accept yourself till you know yourself, and it's only when you know yourself that you can be yourself, because if not, you're going to be whatever has told you, you're going to be, and that connection. Why are you doing as if you've heard this for the first time?
Okay.
Wole, you're letting me down.
Wow. Wow.
I don't know if you are coming back.
I'm so coming back. I'm coming back. So I'm so coming back.
But yeah, so I think that connection with yourself, what we always say, that connection with yourself is so important. And it's even that biblical thing of love others how you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, how are you going to love others? So that, I think we tend to forget that very crucial connection, which is with
But that
ourselves.
comes with time and experience.
Yes, I think so.
You don't learn about yourself while you're in your comfort zone. You only learn about yourself when you step outside your bubble.
See, Karin and I had a conversation last week, and that's what she dropped so many gems, and that was one of them where she was saying that you grow outside your bubble, and the problem is that too often we stay in our bubble.
True.
Yeah. So.
I'm going to agree with that. Actually, you actually learn a lot about yourself when you're under some sort of stress and sort of pressure, but it has to be intentional about trying to get back to where it is that you started from. So knowing knowing what things that that influence your decision making, influence the things that you say, influence the choices that you make, and trying to filter out what really and truly should not be influencing what you how you make a decision.
Yeah.
And you really, I mean, I attended some conference some time back, and he spoke about how from the moment you're born, that someone else is already having influence
Putting
on
things,
your
yeah.
parents, your teachers, your society, and then there's your own study, your own education, and you just lose yourself somewhere. And we have to bring ourselves back. Bring yourself back, so you can actually give yourself to the world in the best way possible.
What do you
So
mean, bring yourself back? Bring yourself back to where?
bring your own self out. So bring yourself out. Come back to yourself.
As opposed
Okay.
to what the
back.
world or others have told you that you are. I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. So so for you to be the best version of yourself, you really would have to go back, and you need help there. It's hard to do it yourself. Very hard.
Has he answered your question?
Kind of.
Don't let him get away with it.
I mean, we find out who we are by experiencing life, making decisions, and then having the responsibility of what happens next because we've made decisions.
Okay.
And then hopefully, with hindsight, evaluating what we've done and then taking from that a lesson or some kind of information and then moving forward. I'm not sure. I think perhaps I agree with you in that you have to bring it back to yourself. I think that's what I'm taking from what you're saying, that you have to evaluate the influences around you, and then you have to understand what you are comfortable with or what you agree with.
I mean, fantastic. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna. There's no
Go there,
caveat.
go there, go there, go there, go.
There's no caveat here.
It's okay.
There's no caveat. So, the only way I know that I can get back to me is with the help of God. So it's prayerfully. There is some counsel that can help. That's why I say I can't do it myself. I don't think that you can do. Someone's mentioned about not doing life themselves. I can't do it myself. I can't be my best self by myself. But I must find myself.
Yeah, so the reason I asked if you had answered character, because I knew what you were saying and you hadn't answered it. So basically what he's saying, let me help him, is that for him, himself is coming from, he created by God, what the Bible says about him. So that's where he's going back to, Abi.
Yes. So
That's why he said, well, come back to myself. She's asking you, where do you know yourself from? You said from the Bible. So just to understand, so that you know what I mean. So he has a basis that he's using as his foundation, which is the Bible and what God says about himself. And that's what he means by coming back to himself. Am I correct?
correct. I didn't want to be Bibly.
No, you can be Bibly.
I can be
You
Bibly.
Bibly.
Oh,
Yes.
Okay, so that's fine.
As long as
Yeah, I
you are.
might not agree,
Yeah,
Go.
she might not agree, but you can be Bibly.
but you can be Bible.
It's not. Life is not about just agreeing. Life is about experience, as you said.
Yes,
So
I
you
think
have
so.
to have different perspectives. So yes, come back to me is the original me. So I was born somewhere. I was made somewhere. I was formed somewhere, and that is that person. That's the best version of me. You can add experiences on top of it, and connections on top of it, and other colors on top of it. But the best would be the best you. The
Yeah,
original
the original you, who you were supposed to be.
original
Yes.
you. No counterfeits, no add-ons.
Oh, authenticity.
Yes,
Oh, I love
that's
that.
the word.
Authenticity.
You want to be authentic.
Your
Your
most authentic self.
self.
Yeah.
Well, in order to be your authentic self, you must be vulnerable.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's the
Fantastic.
key
Fantastic.
element to being,
Fantastic.
because if you are vulnerable, then you have to let go of the perception you have of yourself and the perception that others have of you.
Excuse me.
for you to
We're
be-
doing a whole show on vulnerability. Can you not go too much into it, please? Thank you very much.
Can I just chip in something?
Yes, of course
I
you
think,
can.
I'm not sure who said something about going through trials and that's when you discover who you are.
Yes.
I think that's what you said,
Yeah.
Karin. Yeah. And I think I agree with that because I think that for me personally, growing up, I always thought, well, I was always told I was this kind of a person and I always saw myself as particular kind of person. But going through some real trials, I think I actually started to see myself as, and I discovered more of me. I always saw myself as timid growing up, and I think everything I did fitted into that being timid. But going through my trials, I've seen that actually, no, I'm not timid. I'm a woman of strength. But the strength that probably wouldn't have seen and
If you
didn't see
hadn't gone
if
through
I hadn't
the-
gone through.
yes.
And I saw things that I was scared of doing. Like I was scared of ever being a single mother because I never thought I could be a parent as on my own. But I'm doing it, and I'm
Excelling.
doing well.
Doing a good
Yeah, doing a good job,
Yeah.
So I think I really agree that, to know who you are, to connect completely with yourself, I think trials are necessary because it
Yes.
takes you away, it takes you to that place. Yes, I'll come back into the Bible because I have that as my basis as well, to really take some time to reevaluate what is important and to actually see you can, with the help of people around you, and for me, with the help of I tell people my faith is very important to me because I fall back to that all the time to see who am I, what can I do, where am I going, what should I be doing, and making connections from there as well.
So what you're saying to me, I think, is that your safe space where you go back to find yourself is in the language of God. Is that
For
correct?
me, yeah, I think so.
That's
I
not
like to say language of God. Yes, go on.
because that's not how it works for me.
Oh,
Fair
okay.
enough.
For me, it is the language of sculpture.
Sculpture.
That's how I investigate the world. That's how I make connections. That's how I discover things about myself, because for me, that is my safe space where I can go, and language of sculpture is a language. You have the language.
So Karin,
of
can I
God,
ask you a
yeah.
question? Because you didn't get into sculpture till later in life.
No.
So is that when you found yourself, when you got into sculpture?
When I was very young, I had a very violent upbringing, incredibly violent. I became involved with a painter, and he was heavily into philosophy and collecting rare books. He opened the curtains of life for me, and I went out into life with a new perspective. When I got into difficulty after I had my children, and I felt very much that I was failing as a mother, and my relationship subsequently also got into difficulty, I became incredibly broken and very destroyed. And I reached out to art because it was the thing that I knew changed my perspective. And when I work, it's a difficult thing to describe, but when I work in my studio with my materials, I understand what they're saying. We have conversations. I can talk to them freely. They talk to me freely. It's a very complicated relationship.
When you say
but
materials,
yeah,
materials.
As in the clay, the tools, as in what she uses to sculpt.
yeah.
Okay, what you used to sculpt actually ministers to you, so it's.
Speaks to
Yes,
Ministers.
it speaks to me.
Well,
And
okay, minister speaks,
I can
it
have
speaks.
a conversation with the materials, and we together create a visual conversation.
Interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're saying it's brought to life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It comes to life, right?
it's a place where I can go to experiment and ask questions, and through the research and through the connection with the materials, I gain answers.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. So
We have 2 minutes, so just
Ah.
no, no, continue. But I'm just saying, be aware.
Because I mean, and I'm hearing, and I'm actually hearing that there's a picture of the clay and the potter.
Yeah.
And the way it comes to life to me is that, well, the clay does answer to the potter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is conversation. There is a life in the clay, but the life in the clay is given by the potter.
The clay has its own qualities that
Fantastic.
in some ways you can only take to a certain pitch, a certain point. I use different materials, but
Yes,
we
she
can
doesn't.
use clay as an example.
Yeah.
But it has its own clay. Some clays have memory, so you can make something and it will go back into that shape. It has its own language and its own qualities and its own boundaries that you will struggle to push past.
Wow.
And if you want to push past those boundaries, then you and it have to get into it.
And this is supposed to be because of its makeup.
Because
the
of the
materials.
qualities of the materials.
materials.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we can go on forever.
That's why exciting. I'm actually
You're
learning.
learning. Yes, you didn't know that.
The things
Okay.
are dropping right now. But there we go.
So again, as usual, we started off with what's the meaning of life? I don't know where we ended. Well,
Yeah,
it's
the meaning of
connected.
life
It's
is-
connected.
It's life.
It's connected. So what does life mean to you? What do you think the essence of life is? We've had a conversation here about connection, growth, learning, and love. I think those were the 4, if I was to summarize, that we came
I
up
think
with.
that's about right.
So, and I think all of them together answer the question for us. We agree with each other here, so we think that that's what life is. What is life to you? What do you think the meaning of life is? Anyway, as usual, we've run out of time. We've just scratched the surface. Go away, have your own conversations. Let us know what you think. Do follow us on YouTube, and please subscribe and press the notification buttons. And don't forget to keep rocking your own gorgeous. We'll see you next time.